who have been around the block. They haven't been around the block in a center uniform. And you don't really know how a team's going to handle that. And if you look at some of these Sooner teams in recent years, there's so many games where they never really had to fight back from a deficit. It didn't happen very often, and this is a team that's done it so often here in this season so far, and it just kind of shows the type of mindset that they have that you don't always see from newcomers and underclassmen.
31 wins on the season for Oklahoma. 11 of them have been in come-from-behind fashion, but all the momentum is wearing orange right now. A strikeout of Agbayani starts the fourth for Pickens, who now pitches with the lead.
And Pickens coming in and going right after Agbayani. One of the best things you can do as a pitcher is take care of the first out after your offense goes to bat for you and puts runs on the board. Your job as a pitcher to come out is to hang a 0.
That's 4 strikeouts now for Carlin Pickens today. She goes to work against the Oklahoma catcher, Isabella Emmerling. Time called now as the 2-0 count, and Nugent is going to go out, briefly chat with Carlin Pickens. Maybe not as sharp today as she was when she came out of the bullpen to win the game back on Friday night. Just kind of a little reset here, conversation with Nugent.
Yeah, you know, and Pickens has done a good job. I mean, she gave up the 3 runs in the 3rd, but one thing that I feel like we have seen from her strikeout numbers all year have been high. And she has multiple here this afternoon already, but one thing she has done a very good job of is being in the strike zone. And it's not a coincidence that Nugent saw 2 pitches out of the zone early, falling behind 2-0, and all of a sudden, I'm going to go out and we're going to have a quick chat. So that's just, as a catcher, managing your staff, understanding the game, and knowing when you maybe need to slow things down and give your pitcher a minute just to refocus.
2-2 now on Emmerling as Pickens has come back with back-to-back strikes. Isabella Emmerling grounded out to the third baseman panel for first time. And looking for her first hit in this weekend series. Wind's going to just blow that one well out of play. Sun is trying to burn its way through the overcast and is doing a decent job at it. Although we'd like a little more sunshine. It's at least kind of bright. How about that?
It doesn't look so ominous. I walked into the stadium this morning going, this does not look like spring softball weather. The weather heard me, getting it together.
And this place has been packed all weekend. Loves Field. Bouncing ball to Dodge. 2 gone here in the 4th inning. How important is that shutdown inning as a pitcher if you can get it after your team gives you the lead?
Invaluable. And this is such a game of momentum, and I feel like we've talked about that a lot this weekend in this series, and you've seen it. With the stick in the circle, defensive plays, we've just seen so many massive shifts in momentum, and we just saw it in a matter of 30 minutes of what looked like the Sooners taking control of this ball game. Landry getting 2 quick outs, and then a 2-out walk. All of a sudden, all of that momentum is in the Tennessee dugout. So Pickens, if she is able to retire the side here and get the Lady Vols back in the dugout, you still feel that same momentum and have the opportunity to start passing the bat offensively.
Yeah, the momentum swings in this series have not been your garden variety like check swing strikeouts or sacrifice flies. They've been 3-run home runs and big strikeouts and incredible defensive plays.
It's a good hack from Hannah Core. 2 strikes, seeing that pitch a little bit elevated.
Hannah Core singled back in the 3rd on the 3-run double by Pickering, which accounts for all of the Oklahoma runs so far. Core, 1 hopper right back to Pickens, and a 1-2-3 inning. That shutdown inning by Carlin Pickens after
Oklahoma State. It took Kat Osterman in the circle, and I mean, Tennessee on the verge of doing it here today as well, but you go back, that's a long time.
Yeah, 19 seasons with one home series loss for Oklahoma. This one hit foul down the left field side by Gabby Leach. Leach struck out her first time.
This is such a big out. If you're Landry in the circle, Leach in the 9-hole.
You need a standing 8 count to kind of regroup. So now she's been able to go sit in the dugout for a moment, and she retires Leach to start the 5th.
And that's a big out to start the 5th, and drop ball that she got Leach to chase outside of the zone, which really would have been ball 4, but keeping her off the base paths before the top of the lineup rolls back over.
And as Morgan stands in, here's what we're talking about with the comfort and ease that Landry had the first 3 innings. And you mentioned it as we were chatting with Karen Weekly. She said, got to put the ball in play.
And that's exactly what the Vols did. But you go back, it was a 2-out walk that started that rally for the Volunteers. And then they took it over, putting the ball in play, making good contact, and able to get going with that 2-out rally, putting up 5 runs with 2 outs. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but if you even go back to the 3rd, there was a walk peppered in to the rally for the Sooners as well. So playing a little bit of a card here today, the walks that we saw so much of on Friday, not as much here, but it's not a coincidence that a walk was peppered into each of those rallies for both teams.
I'm going to have to bring you a little more current with that broken record reference. It's a digital download with a corrupted file in it, I think is what it is nowadays.
Okay. Then I just aged myself a bit,
It's okay.
I guess.
It's okay. I had records. It's all good.
I didn't, so.
Patty Gasso out for a quick visit. So we've seen Emmerling go out. We've seen Jennifer Rocha come out. And now Patty Gasso out for a chat with Landry. And you wonder if the Sooners would make a switch as Landry has fallen behind. But given how effective Kirsten Deal was yesterday, complete game for Oklahoma out there in the circle.
And there is some movement in the Sooner bullpen. I see Peyton Monticelli up, moving around, and Deal had a really good day. One of the best outings I feel like we've seen from Kirsten Deal this season, and both Monticelli and Deal up, moving around.
And Oklahoma has been without Audrey Lowry, freshman pitcher, very talented, was the Indiana Gatorade Player of the Year last year. In fact, got a win in the South Carolina series for Oklahoma, but she's been unavailable to them the last couple of weeks. Hit in the air toward the left fielder. And with the shift on, the left fielder was the right fielder, Cassidy Pickering. So she jogs back over, and we've seen that work out a couple of times for Oklahoma. We even saw with the shift on, Abigail Dayton yesterday, the left fielder take a throw on a fielder's choice play at second base.
Yep.
Yeah, the shifts make crazy box scores happen.
What's been wild is, you know, you talk about you either hate the shift or love it. It's played in OU's favor.
Yeah, it's like the transfer portal. You may not like it all the time, but it works out a lot more than it fails. I'm just telling you. Here's Fiedler, 0 for 2.
Landry getting on top. No balls, 2 strikes to Fiedler. Fiedler 0 for 2 here today, but you go back to the 4th. That line drive straight back to Landry was squared up well.
It'll stay 0-2 on Fiedler. Fiedler, a real energy giver to this team, and just kind of a consistent type of player who's locked down center field defensively for the Lady Volunteers this year.
And when you look at this Tennessee lineup, and it's easy. We talk about Oklahoma. A lot of they're young. There's a lot of newness. And then you look at Tennessee, they've got some youngness players in their lineup, but you have that leadership like what we see from Fiedler.
Nicely done by McEnroe Marinas. Landry a clean 5th inning and hoping her offense can rally as we.
Dayton did a really good job in her last at-bat of using the dirt and finding a way on base right in the middle of that 3-run inning for the Sooners.
One and 2 the count to the Sooner left fielder.
Pickens took a little bit off that one. It's wild, and we talk about the velocity so much, but her off-speed pitch is in the low 60s, low to mid 60s. And there's a lot of...
That's where many, if not most, fastballs live these days.
There's a lot of pitchers who are throwing their velocity mid 60s, and let's make it clear, that's not a junk ball pitcher. That's not just tossing it in there.
Okay, what was your now the rules regarding engagement of the rubber were a little bit different back then. So what was your top speed?
77. So it was a big day when it got broken on Monday. No, just kidding. No, it did change a little bit. Not having to have both feet on the rubber, I think across the board, you've seen velocity increase, which is great. You know, mid to upper 60s was about where I was hanging out. But you see that shift, and it's really amazing for the sport, but just seeing how stronger young pitchers are.
Yeah, how do you build velocity? We were talking with Karen Weekly this week about, the jump from 55 to 60 miles per hour is almost easier than going from, say, 67 to 68. And there's a leadoff walk to Abigail Dayton, who has been the party starter. That's the way that Patty Gasso has described her at the top of the order.
She is. She's right in the middle of everything, and I'm going to say it again. We said it to start this ball game. Walks have been killer. They have been in this game as well. A 2-out walk started the rally for Tennessee to put 5 on the board, and now a leadoff walk. Not just leadoff of the inning, but leadoff to Abby Dayton, putting her on the base paths to go through the toughest part of this OU lineup.
Nellie McEnroe Marinas now. She walked and scored on the double by Pickering back in the 3rd. Oklahoma loaded the bases. And maybe when you point back at this game so far, after the double by Pickering, the response by Pickens, because she got the heart of this Oklahoma lineup after that. She got Garcia, she got Parker, and she got Sanders in successive fashion after the double by Pickering. We talk about responses. That was a response by Pickens.
And we've seen her do it all weekend, and not just the response of getting three quick outs, but also the big strikeout to end the inning. I think one thing when you see Carlin Pickens, she finds a way to hammer the strike zone and make big pitches in big moments. And speaking of big moments, you got Sooner fans knowing and feeling what's going on here in the 5th after that walk.
Got some former Sooner All-Americans, national champions there. Kenzie Hansen, Alyssa Brito, Nicole May. I believe we've got all kinds of champs over there.
I think biggest champ is that woman in her cowboy boots dancing on the dugout.
Good play by Panel to cut off that chopper from McEnroe Marinas as Dayton moves down to second base on the play.
When you don't have a bunt and you are in a tight ball game, you put the ball on the dirt. You could see the reaction from Dayton and kind of giving McEnroe Marinas the, all right, let's go. Good job of finding a way to move a runner into scoring position.
And now Pickens tries to solve the mystery that has been Cassidy Pickering. She has reached base safely in 15 straight at bats, including a 3-run double that started the scoring back in the 3rd today.
Pickering showing bunt and pulling back, but Pickering seeing the ball so well off of Pickens and just really locked in the box. You can see Pickens being careful here, and rightfully so, but really working the outside corner, working that drop ball, trying to force Pickering to put something on the ground.
Rips that one over the outside edge of the plate. You could not have spotted that in a better position, could you? Takes the count to 2-2 on Pickering.
Such a deliberate location. 75 on the gun, but breaking the knee. The height of that pitch is what's so impressive.
Pickering lifts this one foul. Wind is going to blow this one toward the seats. And I'm telling you, yesterday that ball would have been caught easily in foul territory. This time, with the north wind, it hits the screen.
And Panel kind of drifting with it, trying to see if she's going to have the opportunity to make a play, and just anything that's sky high is going to be pushed, and we've seen it a couple times here this afternoon.
Pickering fouls this one off. This feels like a huge at-bat, given the way that Pickering has menaced the Volunteers this weekend and how good Pickens has been.
And Pickering seeing a lot of pitches going deep into this count, working full. Pickens going toe-to-toe, continuing to challenge Pickering. Payoff pitch here.
And she spoils another one.
You can see Pickering, those pitches on the outer half, and we've seen that same pitch location multiple times in this at-bat coming from Carlin Pickens, of really trying to get Pickering to expand her zone and chase that pitch on the outer half, and Pickering just getting enough of it to get rid of it and making Pickens come back over the plate. Same story, new pitch, same story, outer half, getting rid of it. What a battle.
Pickens and Pickering, you pick a winner. It's Pickens with the big strikeout.
Just as we've seen her do it all weekend. And that pitch was right at the knee and probably caught a little bit more plate than Pickens would have liked. But the height, that is where you're at with that pitch. The drop ball just breaking the knee through the zone. Big time pitch coming from Pickens.
It breaks a streak of 15 straight times reaching base for Cassidy Pickering. Maybe no bigger strikeouts this weekend than that one by Carlin Pickens.
Huge.
Gabby Garcia 0 for 2 today. And more paint from Pickens.
Pickens getting on top quickly. 0-2. Opportunity to go to the rise.
One and 2 the count. Gabby Garcia 1 for 7 this weekend, but that one hit was her first career triple yesterday into right field. To first base, picked up by Gibson, and Pickens is able to pitch around the walk in the 5th. Lady Volunteers looking for the win in Norman this weekend. Go to
perfect storm between walks and a home run.
You mentioned the 2-out walk. It was issued to this player, Taylor Panel, in the 4th inning. That's what started the 5-run uprising for the Lady Volunteers.
And we mentioned it as it was happening, obviously not knowing everything that would ensue after, but such a tremendous at-bat by Panel. If you go back in the 4th, the 2-out walk came around to score.
Hard hit ball speared by McEnroe Marinas. And she's able to get Panel. She is just wired to play third base.
Not many people are. And McEnroe Marinas, that ball was smoked. And making it look easy, even checking down to throw out Panel at first base. Big first out.
Those third basemen, sometimes they make a play like that and they almost look at the hitter and go, is that all you got? But you're right, it takes a different type of mindset to play that close to that much velocity coming your way.
You've got to love when you have a third baseman as a pitcher that you can rely on like that and go, you know what? I'm going to go hard in on a righty as much as I want because I know they can smoke a ground ball right at you and it's an out every day of the week.
Here's McKenna Gibson. She had a base hit in that 5-run rally. Came in to score on the double by Mealer. And then Dodge hit the 3-run blast that is the difference maker right now. Effective over the outer half of the plate there.
Landry took a little bit off of it. Just coming in at 54 miles an hour. So again, sticking with that same pitch sequence of keeping these Tennessee hitters off balance and not allowing them to sit on one speed.
In the hole and off the heel of Garcia's glove. Out it goes into left field. So that's back-to-back hits in this game for McKenna Gibson. She reaches first with 1 away in the 6th.
And Gibson just taking this pitch and using the dirt, put the ball in play, and you could see the freshman Garcia in that 5-6 hole trying to kind of shovel that ground ball instead of turning the glove over and trying to backhand. But even if she keeps that pitch on the dirt, it would have been a tough play.
Nugent rifles one into right center field. Leaping to grab it is Pickering. She'll throw back to first. Gibson is safe, but more leather flashed here in Norman this weekend.
And you see the excitement from Nugent getting the high five from Coach Craig Snyder because that ball was smoked. But let's continue to talk about the defense and Cassidy Pickering keeping runs off the board. And what a catch, and making it look pretty darn easy. And coming up quickly, even after that catch, turning around and getting the ball in quick. As many runs as she's put on the board with the stick, she's kept them off. I mean, she's tremendous in the outfield, reads the ball so well off the bat.
Here's Mealer bouncing one to short, and Garcia flipping it to Akbayani. Inning over. 5-3 Lady Volunteers headed to the bottom of the 6th.
Opportunity, Parker Sanders back to back. Starting to get a little deep in this game, getting a little bit late. So this could be the inning for the Sooners with Parker and Sanders leading it off, but gonna need some timely hitting.
3 hits today. And there's a strike poured through there. So Oklahoma 13 hits combined in the first 2. They've left 4 runners on base today. Parker is 0 for 2. She's grounded to second and grounded to short in this one.
If as I'm looking, 4 runners left on base today, to me, one of the more critical moments in this game, you go not too long ago back in the 5th. Leadoff walk to start the inning to Abigail Dayton. She gets moved over on a swinging bunt, if you will, and stranded at second base. So the Sooners not capitalizing on a big opportunity. When you have a pitcher like Pickens in the circle who's going to give you a gift of a leadoff walk, you've got to find a way to capitalize. And that's something, as a coach, you kind of go back and look at and go, that was an inning that we needed to find a way to get something done and make Pickens pay for the leadoff walk.
Now Nugent goes out to visit with Carlin Pickens. Pickens 5 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, all earned with 3 walks and 5 strikeouts. Oklahoma took the lead in the bottom of the 3rd. A 3-run double by Cassidy Pickering. Tennessee, all of their runs coming in the 4th. 2-run double by Mealer and a 3-run home run by Ella Dodge. Right now is the separator. This one pulled right to first. Gibson is able to beat Parker to the bag for the first out.
That's a big first out for Pickens. That pitch on the outer half and just getting Parker to roll over. But Pickens has really just now hitting that 100 pitch mark, but she has been hammering the strike zone. Working ahead in counts and going after these Sooner hitters and saying, here's mid-70s. Do with it what you will, but she's really been in the strike zone a ton.
Sydney Sanders hit by pitch in the 2nd and then struck out in the 3rd. And I go back to that response of Pickens. Oklahoma had 3 runs on the board. They had Pickering at 2nd. They had nobody out. And Pickens was able to get Garcia, Parker, and Sanders. Boom, boom, boom. And it was done after Oklahoma posted 3.
Yeah, and that's something, and it doesn't faze her. And we've heard Coach Weekly talk about, you know, her character and her leadership and the way that she just handles her business. And it doesn't matter if she's out there and things are just rolling or maybe facing a little bit of adversity. She still has that poise, and her demeanor does not change.
Hard hit, ground ball gathered up by Dodge. 2 down.
Dodge has been really solid defensively, and you know, I go back and I mean, she's had a busy day over there at second base today. Multiple outs. I think I've got 5 in my scorebook ground balls to second base, and Dodge has been all over it, and even going back and nearly taking a hit away with a play she made. But Dodge has really been tremendous defensively at second base for Tennessee.
Agbayani 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Looking for her first hit in this weekend series. Slow roller to first. Nicely done by the second baseman Dodge, taking that throw from McKenna Gibson. And a 1-2-3 inning in the circle for Pickens, with her Lady Vols leading 5-3 headed to the 7th.